right.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to That Sewing Blab. We have here in the room tonight, and that's who we're going to interview, Myra. She's known as One So Sweet on the Pericrafter Facebook page, but she's from the blog Simple Inspirations. So I'm just going to invite her. Whoops, she moved on me. Invite her on screen. And hopefully we've done a test, so it should work out fine. She'll pop on. There she is.
There you go. Hi, Myra.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hey, everybody. Let me situate myself up here.
Hey, I did that on Color Purple. You and me must never part.
I know. Oh, I love that.
That's too funny. I don't know why I had the urge to do that, but okay, stop cutting up. All foolishness aside. All right, Dawn, I'm serious. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start being serious. So before we get started, I'll just mention some show business for That Sewing Blab. I'm still working on sending it over to Facebook. I'm getting very close. We now can get it to start. We're just a little worried about the stopping, so I'm going to wait one more week before that I stream it live to Facebook. So hopefully by next week, we'll be in more than one place, so everyone will be able to watch.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
How's your week been, Alethia? You've been busy as always, I imagine?
Yes, I have. I haven't done much sewing. Well, I haven't done any sewing, so I know it's just Tuesday, but still, since I've last talked to you, I haven't had much sewing done, and I don't like that. I feel like I'm out of my element when I'm not sewing.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I've been planning, and some things, and just watching everybody do what they're doing with the wardrobe challenge. It's been exciting. We'll get to talk to Myra in just a bit about what she's doing this week, which is the jacket or the cardigan. And speaking of wardrobe challenge, for those of you that's going to catch this on the replay, this is what we're working from. Most of us. There are others that are working from different patterns, but nonetheless, they're creating wardrobes. So we've already gone through the skirts, and thanks to Doc that's on here, Isla, she helped us go through the skirts, and Andrea, she helped us go through the tops. And we just finished watching Carol last week show us how to fix it, to do these pants. They gave us some awesome techniques on waistband treatments and hem techniques. So we're excited about that. And we're off to a really good start this week with Myra and the cardigan and the jacket. So nice tip, Myra, on the stabilizing the seams on knit fabrics. So we're going to let you talk more about that coming up.
Okay.
But like I said, I've been planning, really been stretched here and there in different things, but good things. But to keep it focused on our sewing, I did want to shoot this little tip out there to everybody. And Myra, watching your blog, your scopes, kind of put me in this mindset, because I know, like me, there are probably a couple of other people that have not completed every piece of the wardrobe. And like, here's my skirt and top. I don't know if I can get my lady over here. Well, let's see if we can get her focused. But this is my skirt and top that I've done here. You see that? And so I've got that done. And you see my little skirt right here. Got that finished up. So I'm thinking that I have several pair of black pants already. So this is like adding on to my existing wardrobe. And so now I just need to do the cardigan. But if you do not want to do all pieces to coordinate with one setting, with one group, like a lot of us are doing the jacket, the pants, the skirts, and tops to match one coordinate, I guess you would say. I have this piece of knit fabric that I love, and you gave me, watching you do your jacket gave me this idea, but I can actually start building on another color and add on to my wardrobe. So for those of you, if you like me, instead of having to go out and buy fabric, to add on to that piece that we're sewing for this week, pull some other fabrics out and build on to other coordinates in your wardrobe. So this, I think, is going to be a pair of pants. That's so amazing. I love the knit, the flowiness of the knit. So I'm thinking I'm going to be able to do a cardigan and some pants out of this from that same pattern. So I hope that is an eye opener for some other ones like me, because sometimes I can think like one track minded. I can be on, just single minded. And so I was thinking, oh, I need some black pants now and I need a black jacket. But I thought, you know what, why don't I just start building on something else and still add on to my wardrobe? So I hope that helps. How about you, Dawn? What have you been up to?
Playing around with trying to get this That Sewing Blab to go on Facebook still, and working on my challenge. So we're doing the swirl jacket. So I'm just working with reducing bulk, with the 3 layers and various things, having a good time, and getting ready for tonight's kind of not as much pattern manipulation, but just little mini pattern lesson. Mm-hmm. We're starting on collars, so I'm really excited. I mean, you might start out a little slow with your basic collars, but then I'm hoping to get a little crazy and funky, and already got like a Pinterest folder up for everyone that has like crazy collars. So I just can't wait to get into that. So I'm going to do that at 8:50 tonight on Periscope. So
wow,
that's pretty much for me.
The collars, did you make that cute shirt that you have on, or is that a dress, or what is that?
No, I just wore it because of I'm going straight into my sewing room to do the Periscope after, so I thought I'd wear something with a collar.
Brilliant. I love that look. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. I do want to answer a question. Let's see, I need that green hanging on your door. Are you you need my green? That's my jacket from like my UFO challenge. I never finished, Doc. So I still have pins in it to finish it. But they asked me what type of fabric is this, and this is actually a sweater knit fabric. It's a very nice flowy weight. It was a piece that I picked up, and you can see it's sheer, so I wouldn't need to line it. But it's a piece that I picked up from Hancock's when they were closing, so I got it for like little or nothing. But it's it feels like it has a little rayon blend to it.
It's really pretty.
I don't know all of the contents, but it feels wonderful.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so I can't wait to get into conversation with you, Myra. I know we've had times, but now you're it. You are in the seat, and so we want to. If Dawn doesn't have anything else, we want to move right in and pick your brains about what you're thinking about this week, because you are the head master. You're teaching class this week.
I don't know about that. I was just sitting here looking at you two pretty ladies and saying, oh my God, they're all dressed up and decked out, and I'm sitting here in a t-shirt.
I'm in a t-shirt. This is definitely a t-shirt.
Ooh, that's nice. Oh, and by the way, I see you have your piece on. I ordered mine today.
Yes. Okay, this is a quick shameless plug, all right? This is, oh yeah, I love that picture. But
yeah, I know, she's talking about gorgeous looking ladies, so I had to throw that up.
Good.
But those of you that are interested and you're catching this on the replay, only because Myra mentioned it, one of our Pericrafters, she crafted this piece of jewelry, and this is from her Shekinah collection. It is, I call it my cloud of witness, all right? And so she will be, this is on sale right now until 11:59 p.m. tonight, 35% off. And when you go to her website, Yana Glaze Jewelry, or yanaglaze.com, you'll be able to get this, and this has matching earrings to it. So last chance tonight, 35% off. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, I got mine already.
Got yours? All right. So it's always nice to support a fellow crafter, and I know she's not in the. Although Ayana does so, her gifting is jewelry, and she is fabulous at it, and so. That's what I like about the Pericrafters. We support one another, and whether purchasing, whether it's just cheering each other on, or, however we can support, we do that. So, and that's why we, so we want to support Myra this week. Well, you're doing an awesome job. You've already put out some great tips on how to sew with knit. So tell us what this week means to you. What does it mean to facilitate this week for jackets?
You mean after I stopped sweating bullets? Jeez, I was so freaking nervous. Oh my goodness. Actually, it means a lot because, I feel like I'm giving back by doing this. I get to answer questions for people and maybe help someone out who may have been struggling with something. And speaking of that, tomorrow is going to be one of those lessons because I have a little bit of a surprise that happened with me. So you'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out what happened. But I really enjoy, most people who know me, especially when I was in the workplace, when I have a passion for something, I want to make sure that everyone who comes to me, first off, let me just say this. When people come to me, when I was at my job, when I walked in the door, everybody in that office was my customer. And that's the way I carried myself. I mean, if someone came to me with something, I would make sure it got resolved. Even if I didn't know what it was they were asking me, I'd find the answer for them just to make sure they were satisfied. And I feel that way this week with what I'm doing. If someone comes to me and they're asking me a question, as with the zipper tutorial that I did, you know, when I was talking, someone said, oh, that sounds like a great tutorial. Would you do one? So I did it. And if I don't know the answer, then I'll refer to someone else like I did with Andrea, you know, as far as a fit expert, and Carol. This is just really, one, help me come out of my shyness, for one thing, because I'm extremely nervous because I'm so shy and I'm usually not out like this. I just recently put myself out on Facebook and all of the social medias. My blogging was the first step for me in opening that door. And I love writing and showing the things that I can do and answering questions. I answer every comment on my blog. And sometimes that gets a little challenging, but I do, because, you know, I just think that's important, and I'm customer focused, and I just feel like a lot of people are my customers, and, you know, I need to make sure they're satisfied.
Well, you know what, that makes a difference in customer service first, and, you know, and then being personable. That makes a difference in our group as a whole, and as opposed to some other groups that I have been in that I know of. Because a lot of times you don't find a personal aspect of it, you know, kind of like, you know, I got this, get your own, or, you know, and there are a lot of helpful groups, but then at some point, you know, people cut off and say, you know, well, no, you need to get your own, you know.
Yes.
I haven't found this with this group, but speaking of you being shy, ma'am, I have to agree with Shar. She says you're a natural, and I say so too. You're a natural.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Thank you.
And you have been, I can't tell you exactly when I tuned into your blog, but I came into the blogosphere, sewing blogosphere, 2008, 2009, somewhere along in there, I found your blog, Simple Inspirations.
2 years after.
Yeah. And so you have been doing this for a minute. You know, you were my biggest inspiration.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All of your clothes, I was like, oh my gosh, this woman can sew. She just, you know, and everybody's scoping about it. I think you were also on, what was it? Pattern Review. A lot of you followed on Pattern Review as well, because it's like a blog hop. When one blog, then you attach to everybody. And that's how I found a lot of you, because everybody was on blogspot.com, and everybody that was on Blogspot was on Pattern Review. Yeah. And so it was just awesome to be able to see women out there still sewing and still talking about it, sharing it, even sharing detail down to the point of, you know, if there was a mistake, you know, or, you know, whatever your review was. So I think that helps. And then coming back to you, and I want you to talk about your blog and how you got started, how you actually got into the blogging arena. But all of that, I believe, plays a part into what you're doing now, because what we saw then, others are coming in onto the scene now. And so now you're able to contribute. Like you said, you feel like you're giving back. Okay. So I personally want to thank you, and thank you for being a part of the sewing community that we have right now.
Oh, thank you. It's actually my pleasure to, I feel like I'm the one that should be thanking you for being a part of Pericrafters and so much talent community, because it's actually helped me a lot. I go back to what started my blog. Again, I have to say I was really shy, and I didn't think I would ever put stuff out there about myself that was really personal, but I have this friend who's an artist. She's a watercolorist. and she's had a blog for some time. And I had been talking with her, and she and I kind of discussed when she was starting her business for her watercolors, and she's just excelled with everything that she's done. And so I was telling her one day, I think, I might be able to do that. But I'm not sure if anyone would read what I had to write. And she said, the only way to know it is to just write something out there. And if they don't, they don't. You just keep writing if you like it. So she gave me a couple of tips on, what to do. And I went out and I started creating these little templates, and I didn't publish them. I just started writing some templates and looking at them. And I kind of liked the way they were set up. And some of those older ones are probably really shifted up because I changed my template of my blog, and I had to refer back to one at one point, and I went, why is it looking so crazy? But then I realized I changed my template. But I didn't publish a few of them. I just looked at them myself, and then one day I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and push that button, and I did. And the comments, came in slowly, but when they started coming in, oh my God, they did. And then when I connected with Pattern Review, that actually helped my blog because I started putting pictures in there, and my website was there, and people were referring back to my blog. So that helped. And for most people who have blogs now, I think that if they, I don't know, if they have time, it's addictive. I mean, you get into it, and then you start getting these comments, and you put stuff up, and you look at yourself, and then you review yourself, you moderate yourself. It's kind of an addiction. And it gets hard sometimes because, as women, we're all extremely busy. We got 50 million things going on at once and doing that juggling act. So sometimes my passion, which is my blog, I'm never going to let that go because, maybe it's slow at times, but I'm never going to let that go because that was my first passion. And, but it gets hard and you put it in the background. So my friend told me that. And when I put it out there, she thought it was really great. And I think she was one of the first ones that actually made a comment on it. So, I thank her for pushing me to do that. And being a part of the community is like so much talent. And Pericrafters actually does the same thing as my friend. It helps push me that little piece that I need to push to keep on going.
Okay, awesome. Wow. Well, I've enjoyed reading your blog, and your blog has been up since how long now?
2010.
2010. All right. So yeah, a long time. And a lot of people don't realize that we've kind of been around. I think they probably have the reaction like I did, that when I came into the blogosphere, I call it blogosphere, sewing world, that we don't realize. I mean, I had this awe moment. Felt like a kid in a candy store. It's like,
me too.
Oh my gosh, look at that. But to realize that, we're out there, that's an awesome thing within itself. And now we get to come together in a community. And thank God for Periscope, because now we really get to bring our creations to life. We get to meet each other. I wouldn't have met Dawn, if it wasn't for Periscope. And
I wouldn't have met you.
Right. We put faces to the names. We've seen each other, and we've seen each other in print. And but to actually see faces now, it's a
voices.
Ball game. Right. And hear voices. It's a whole different ball game. I had somebody that asked me, to kind of tell me within the Pericrafters, they don't know how I was able to create a group of women, create a community where there's no drama, where we all get along. And I never really thought about it like that. It just never, I get on there and I type and I do, like I always do, type this, and I encourage everybody to dip in there and pour in. And, so it's just what it is. Everybody's on the same page. We have the same mindset, and it's just been a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody that's on board, and thanking you, Dawn, for this opportunity, because now this is another leg of, what the community can do. Now we get to actually sit and talk with people such as yourself, and really peek into your studios and get into your creative minds and find out, what makes Myra tick, what makes all these creative celebrities do what they do, you know. So this is a great thing. But go ahead.
I was just going to say to you, because you mentioned that piece about, no drama. When Miss Faye, who actually introduced me to the Pericrafters, and you sent me out the information, and I went on, I got joined the group. When I saw that about no drama, I just fell in love. I just said, yeah, this is the place where I need to be, because that's one thing all my life, because of being shy. It's not something that I shy away from. People think that I just shy away from it. I'm able to hold my own, but I choose not to, because I fight my battles as I see fit. So if there's drama, Myra will clam up. You will not hear her.
Right. And the same here. I'll excuse myself in a minute, when it's any sign of drama. But I thank God for this community. I think we may have had one subtle incident that you all probably know nothing about, probably won't ever know about it. But it was just something very subtle, just a misunderstanding. But other than that, this has been like almost 99.9999% drama free, which is way cool,
Yes.
But getting back to your this month's challenge, we're on our last leg of this challenge, and I want to give a shout out to everybody so far that's been involved. Isla's on here, Andrea, and Carol Crockerware, and they have all done a great job facilitating this whole month, this whole challenge of showing us how to create skirts, tops, pants, and now you're bringing to the table the jackets and or the cardigans. So what do you inspire? What's your objective? What do you want people to gain from your challenge, from your perspective this week when it comes to putting together jackets?
That not all of us who have experience are perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have challenges. Just like, newbies coming in think, well, we are the gods of sewing, but that's not true because we make and that's what I was trying to tell them, that, we make mistakes too. It's just experience, and if there's any one thing that I want from my week is that it helps some newbie out there enjoy the passion that I have and want them to continue on no matter what, that they can come to any one of us in the group if they're struggling with something and feel very comfortable to ask that question, because the only silly question is the one that's not asked.
Exactly. Yes, I 100% agree with that. And everybody here has done a great job of making everybody feel welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had a gentleman join us just recently. He's a jeweler. And this is the one thing, speaking of a jeweler, a lot of people have the idea that the Pericrafters is just, and this show, That Sewing Blab, is not just about Pericrafters, but we make up a large amount of the viewing audience. But a lot of people think that the Pericrafters is just about sewing, because mainly most of our challenges have been about sewing. But I'm trying to get the word out now that we want to see more crafters. We want to see more jewelers and knitters and crocheters and stuff. And so last night I had an opportunity to meet a lot of new people, and a lot of them have been joining the Pericrafters. But going back to the gentleman that joined, he's a jeweler, and he was introduced to the group by Ayana. And he asked the question. He said, "Well, are there any more males in the group?" And I know we have Mr. Jim, which we're thankful for Mr. Jim. And he said he felt kind of uncomfortable because all he saw was the sewing aspect of it. So going forward, I think we want to kind of change that, So I've already put the word out there. We've had anybody that's knitting, crocheting, doing any kind of DIY projects outside of sewing. We want to bring that to the forefront. We want to establish that and let everybody have a part, in the Pericrafters and feel welcome. But he said you all made him feel very welcome to be a part of the Pericrafters, and that this is not just for women, it's not just for sewing, but it's for every crafty person out there.
Wasn't that Heavy Lover, something like that? I think it was.
We joked about his name.
I saw that. I almost blocked him.
I know. Well, see, that's why I made that disclaimer. But I teased him. I said, "You're a heavy lover of jewelry, right?" But I think he has a significant other, and you know, so he's very legitimate. So if anybody sees heavy lover floating around there in Pericrafters, he is a-okay.
Yeah. That was funny.
Well,
So,
Myra, oh, sorry. I was going to say we've been talking about the fantastically wonderful Pericrafters and everything you've been doing this week, but I've been dying to know what started you sewing.
Ooh.
I've been like so excited to learn more about the nitty gritty of Myra.
Oh my gosh, you're digging deep.
I want
many years ago. My aunt was a seamstress, and very well. She was a real good seamstress, from what I remember back then. And I actually started, I think, when I was 13, and I started sewing like Barbie doll clothes, you know, like a typical thing people do on my hand. And one day I remember I was in junior high and I was going to school, and this young lady came in and she had on this pencil skirt. And everybody, I guess, who knows me now knows that I love pencil skirts.
Yeah.
So that's where it started. But she had on this pencil skirt, and I didn't have anything like that. I didn't, you know, have a lot of fancy clothes when I was young or anything. But I just looked at that pencil skirt on her and I thought, oh my God, it's so pretty. Wish I had something like that. So one day I went home and I ripped up, I can't remember what it was. It was black and white, and it was more like a tweed. But I can't remember the article that I ripped apart, what it was. But I know I ripped it up and I fitted it on myself, and I sewed and stitched it with my hand. But I stitched this thing so doggone tight. You know how when you're walking like this? That's how I went into class.
wow.
And I was so proud of that skirt that I made on my hand, but it didn't turn out quite so well once I got to school. Because you know how the kids are mean and they write these little things on notes and pass it around the class? Well, that's what was happening to little old Myra. They were drawing stick figures because I was always skinny. They were stick figures, so they were making fun of me in this tight skirt with the stick figure. I could not wait to get home, to get out of that skirt, and I cried all night.
Oh, no.
But when my aunt saw it, she lifted me up and she said, you know what? She said, it was a little too tight. She said, I'm going to show you how to do it right. And she showed me how. And that kind of started the bug. And I guess my mom saw that I continued to make things on my hand. So one year she asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I told her nothing. She said, there's nothing at all. I said, no. And then she said, what about a sewing machine? Wouldn't you like to ask for that? And I said, yeah, but that's too expensive. I don't think I could get that. She said, well, you can always ask. So I did, and I got that sewing machine for Christmas on my 13th, when I was 13 years old. And I was so happy. I think I never left that thing. I recently, and I think I said it when I was on the interview with Miss Faye's blog, I had recently given that sewing machine away to my son's ex-wife, and I don't know where it is anymore, and I wish I hadn't done that. It was a new home. It was a green new home, and I wish I still had it to this day.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I still have my sewing machine that I learned on years ago. I've been sewing probably almost about 40 years now.
Uh-huh.
And I think it might have been the second machine, but it was a Kenmore. It was a full metal machine, and that machine floated from house to house to house. But I think it's now in my garage, and I still have it. Yeah, so I call that Old Faithful. We have named it, affectionately named it Old Faithful, because it's been around forever.
Yeah, but they don't make them that way anymore. They were made out of cast iron or something.
I think so. You're right. They don't full metal machines. They don't make them like that anymore. Yeah. So, all right. So, Dawn, I guess we want to open up for questions or from the.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions for Myra about her blog, the wardrobe challenge?
And while we're waiting on questions to come in, Myra, tell us how we can view you. Tell us when you're going to come on again and what days are left for us to see you in the rest of this challenge.
I'm actually on tomorrow at 2 p.m. and then again on Friday for show and tell at 2 p.m.
Okay, and that's Eastern Standard Time, right?
Yes.
Okay,
and I just saw a question. I think it was Andrea. First off, thank you, Andrea, for saying that I was awesome. Thank you, I appreciate that. And next time you got a machine, and what kind? She said, what was the next time you got a machine and what kind? That would have been one that I bought for myself and I still have it. It's a Singer. I still have it. It's one that I actually showed on the interview with Faye. It's the Singer that's on there. That was the very next one I had after I had given that one away. And then I purchased a Singer Serger, which I still have. And I purchased, I think it was a Simplicity sewing machine, which I still have. And that's not what I sew on. This one that I have right now, I think it's a Euro Pro. So I'm looking to get a new machine, but I can't decide whether I want a machine or a serger or both. You know, I want to replace them. These two are workhorses. I've had them for some time, never had any problems with them. I just feel, maybe I don't want to change that right now. So maybe sometime in the future. And she also asked me, let's see, have you taken a break or leave of absence from sewing? It was indirect. And yes, it was because I sewed a lot when my kids were young. Sometimes I think, and I don't know how that was possible, when my kids were young, I made a lot of their clothes, I made all of mine, and I made clothes occasionally for other people. How I had time to do that with kids and homework and basketball games and all that stuff, I have no idea, because it was a struggle just with my husband and I. But the break that I took was indirect, and it was because of work. My work challenges, you know, I was working at a pharmaceutical company. That's not where I retired from. And I traveled quite a bit. So I was, you know, sometimes only home for 1 week during the month. So that was a lot. And you don't have any time to sew if you're not at home. So it was an indirect break from sewing.
Okay. Well,
and Faye has a question for you as well. She wanted to know, where do you see your sewing life 5 years from now?
You know, I told my husband before I got on here, I said, I better be prepared for this question, because I've actually heard Miss Alethia ask everybody, so where do you see yourself from here? Ask that question. And I do have goals. I definitely have goals. And like I had mentioned to Alethia a while back, my goals were written down. My problem was reviewing those and acting on them. And I, were really bad about that, but I started journaling, and that's actually helped me tremendously. And so I do have goals, and I am acting toward those goals right now. And I have a plan for myself, and it is in sewing this time. I don't know if all of you know, but I actually ran a business myself. I was a mobile office assistant before I moved to Florida. I actually did administrative work for people who were home-based. And I really enjoyed that. And when I started that business, people thought when I said I was going to start my own business that I was going to be sewing. It was going to be something like that, because everybody knew I sew, but that's not what I did. But this time, I'm moving into the direction of, my passion, my heart, which is sewing. So I don't want to divulge any of that right now, but let's just say, yes, sewing is in my future. It's going to be big for me, and I'm just praying that it's where I need to be.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, you've got it written down, so I believe, like we've been seeing come to pass, especially speaking of writing goals down your you're planning it out. We've been doing this Realize Your Dreams with Ayana, following Terry Seville Foy's book. So I am looking forward to seeing what you have. As long as you've got them written down, you're viewing it, I'm sure it's going to come to pass. But
yeah.
I do have a question for you. I do. And somebody, Faye took my 5-year question, my 5-year plan, but is there anything that you have not sewn, or is there one thing that would be very challenging for you to accomplish? You know, is there one thing that you have desired to sew and create that maybe you haven't yet that you aspire to?
That's a good question. And I never thought of that because I've actually made a couple of wedding dresses. I made my own, and I made another woman's for her wedding. I've made coats. I made them for my husband. I've done that. Now, I pretty much challenge myself all the time. If there's something that I've not done before and I'm really interested, I will take a chance at it, even if it means it may be trashed. I will take a chance at it. I'm a risk taker when it comes to something like that. So right off the top of my head right now, no, I don't think there is anything.
Well, I can honestly say I think I've seen you tap into a lot of stuff. I mean, you've done, faux leather jackets, but I believe you did a faux leather jacket. I'm sure you can work with a leather jacket. You've done, now you're doing some stuff for your husband. I know you say you've made coats for him, but now you're doing a shirt. You're not copying, but you saw an inspired shirt that you told us about one of your recent scopes. So now you're doing some stuff for your husband. But I take on the same concept like you. You know, I have in my mindset that if it's been done, I can do it. You know, I might not know exactly how right now, but I will figure it out because somebody had to make it, right? So I feel like if it was done, then I can do it. I just need to figure out how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I use my husband quite a bit. He's been on my blog. He's made cameo appearances on my blog. I made a yellow t-shirt for him. I don't know if you remember seeing that. It has like the black overcast stitching in the arms and around the side seams. And he loves getting out there every now and then. He's shy like me. And but when he gets in front of the camera, he kind of likes himself too. But I enjoy. Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I saw he made a little cameo appearance in your first scope.
You know, he told me, he says, "Oh, I didn't know I was on camera." He knew.
He didn't try to run. He just sat there.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and there's not one person that I've ever met that doesn't like him. He's just really kind of like Arthur. He's just a really nice guy.
Awesome. Right, so questions for you.
Okay. Yes, there's quite a few here now. The ladies are coming up with lots of good questions for you. I think there was another one from Faye.
Okay.
Oh no, it was just a comment, a lovely comment from Faye about that you might call yourself shy, but you certainly were sharing and warm when she first met you through blogging. And that was something we talked about, wasn't it, Myra? How, you know, you might be an introvert, but then you pushed yourself. Like I think you're daring but shy. So you know, oh, I'm gonna try blogging. To hit the button.
Well, I tell you,
I'm gonna go on Periscope.
I'm sorry. I tell you, being in corporate actually changed that for me, because I've had people who tried to push me into positions that I didn't really want to be in, and I took those positions, and you know, then I started listening to them and demanding what I needed for my shyness. But it has a way of, anytime you step outside your box, even if you're uncomfortable, if you continue to do that, it will help you stay outside that box. And one of the ladies told me, when I kept saying that I'm shy and, you know, I'm not very social, because, you know, some people think if they don't know me, then I'm very standoffish, and I'm not. It's just that I'm shy. And she said, I don't think you're shy, Myra. She said, I think you're just uncomfortable with that, because she thinks that I really enjoy talking and being around people, but I'm very uncomfortable with it. So I don't know if she's right or not, but I still feel that way. But corporate made the difference for me, because I had to stand in front of groups of people and talk about, you know, different businesses, different aspects of things that I'm doing. And when you do that, you know, the first time I did that, I couldn't speak a word. I just tried to find somebody I knew and just stood there and looked at that person. And thank goodness it was at a sales conference, and, I didn't have to really, work on it. But after that, I started to work on it, and it became very comfortable for me. Comfortable in speaking, but uncomfortable in my body still. So stepping outside your box is a big thing to make a difference, whether you're shy or not. Just take that first step. And so you hear me, Miss Faye? You take that first step out there in the Periscope. You've done it, I think, twice now, maybe 3 times. You can do it. I know you can.
Awesome at it too. She did a wonderful interview when we finally got her on the Blab show. She did an awesome job. So I have to agree, Miss Linda Faye, you are awesome.
Faye was saying that she wanted to know more about your show-stopping Butterick moto jacket. She wanted to know if there was any tips you could share about the construction.
Well, that one was easy, and I kind of figured that somebody might say something to me about that. I actually have it here. The only thing that, here, let me put it on. I don't know if you can see it, and I plan on taking it apart to do that. The only tip, it was really easy to do. The one thing I'd have to say is when you're making something, especially if you're putting zippers like this into something, make sure you stabilize the area that you're doing with it. And for this jacket, when I make jackets, I still love putting shoulder pads in, but I like the thin 1/4 inch shoulder pads. And for whatever reason, I just think I was having a dumb moment. I picked up 1/2 inch, and it made my jacket a little tight in the shoulders here. So I have 1/2 inch thick. I don't know if you can see them. There it is. Thick shoulder pads, and I'm going to take them out and put the right ones back in there. But this jacket, that Lizette Butterick pattern, was so super easy to work with. I mean, it was just fabulous to work with. So much so I'm going to make another one of these in faux leather. I just haven't done it yet, but I love this jacket. It's so comfortable to throw on with a t-shirt, and it could look fancy, it could look casual. I just absolutely love it. But that's the tip that I would say. If you're going to put shoulder pads in yours, which I think it should have some kind of structure in the top here, make sure it's something very thin and not 1/2 inch thick shoulder pads. that would be my tip.
That's a great one.
That's gorgeous, Myra.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I think Andrea had a question too. We actually were thinking of the same one earlier. Wanted to know if you had a sewing nemesis. Like, is there anything that you don't enjoy making? Like, I think Alethia is not so fond of curtains, not because they're hard, just because it's not her cup of tea. Like, do you have something that you just is your sewing nemesis, as Andrea would say?
Well,
Love that.
That would actually be something that's time consuming. It's not that it's a nemesis of mine. It's just now because I want to make so much. The thought of sitting on something that's going to take me 2 weeks to work on, that's something that I probably would put on the back burner for a little while. But no, I have my favorites of things that I like to work on more than others, but something that I just really don't know.
What has been your most challenging sewing project? That's what I want to know. I mean, because everything you do pretty much turns out fabulous. So there is some,
you're so sweet.
Your sewing skills.
I don't know about that, Miss Alethia. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But everything I start is a challenge if it's something that I've not worked on before. I approach it like that because even with a simple t-shirt, it could go wrong. And I've actually... Me too. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, I approach, like I said, everything as if it's a challenge, but I'm trying to think if I've had any. I have had fitted dresses. Let me go back to what Dawn asked me. Fitted woven dresses. Mm-hmm. That's a challenge for me. And I know now why it's always been a challenge, because I haven't visited the Sew to Fit tutorials on YouTube. That's why.
And that's
so now that they're
right.
yes. Yes. So now that I know they're out there, you know, and that's been years, you know, over, you know, I worked on a couple of them, and I'm not one, because of my body style, the way my body is currently, I think I look better in two-piece dressing, so I'll do a lot of that. Every dress that I've made, I no longer have, because they just don't look right on me, to me. So, and the woven, and most all of them are knits now, but I have learned to work with the knits, to work with my body, but the wovens were always a challenge for me. And I know it was because I didn't know how to fit myself properly. And, you know, I don't know how long Andrea's YouTubes have been out there, but, you know, when I found them, it was a godsend, because then she started showing this tissue fitting and all of this, and duh, Myra, why didn't you think of that? You know, but having somebody out there that shows you that made the difference. So that would be my nemesis, I would say, would be fitting woven articles of clothing for myself. Now, pants is different. I don't know what it is, woven or knit, I can handle the pants. Even my jeans, I have a couple of pair of jeans that I made years ago. I haven't made any recently. No problem with fitting myself for jeans. It's just those woven dresses and tops.
So speaking of fabrics, what's your favorite fabric to work with?
Now, Miss Alethia, you know that. It's knits. I go knits all day. I am just
with knits. You know, like some, we talk about this all the time. It probably comes up just about every scope, but most people nowadays want to start off sewing with knits. And we were taught old school, you start off with wovens. But did you start off with knits, or did you start off with wovens?
I started off with wovens, but back then everything that I made was loose sleeve. So I didn't really have to fit anything. The jackets were oversized with big shoulder pads, and you know, I had skirts that maybe had a fitted waist, which is like pants. I don't have a problem with that. And then they have the pleats, you know, from there. You know, I had lots of that kind of stuff. So, and then I made dresses that were wrapped. They were woven, but they were wrapped. So that's a little different. I only made one, because the wrap dresses of today are in, a lot of them are knits. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, that it's different in woven than it is in knit for me when it comes to a wrap dress. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had one of those old ones that I can show you. That I mean, I had one, I wore it so bad that baby was in shreds by the time I got rid of it. I loved it so much. But I think that would have been
I said, we all have those pieces, that one or two that we would just wear to shreds.
Yeah, and I did it. I did it for that dress. And like my jacket, Monday that I showed you guys, the one jacket that I just didn't want to get rid of. Did you get to see that? It's a houndstooth with a black collar. It's almost in shreds right now, so I'm gonna have to give it up too. But wow. Yeah, so
that just means it's time to make another one.
Oh yeah. Well, thing is, the jackets are going to be more cool like this. That was more corporate. I don't want to. Let me get out of this before I start having drips of water coming down my face. But yeah, that was more of my. I had to wear a lot of suits when I was. Well, I didn't have to, but I wore a lot of suits when I was at work. So I won't be making too many more of those. I have enough to satisfy myself right now, but I will still be making jackets and cardigans, but there will be more sporty type jackets. And like, I still haven't made the Miss Andrea leather jacket. That might be a challenge. That might be a challenge.
Is that the green jacket?
Yes.
Is that the one? Oh my gosh. I should have pulled mine out, but I won't do that. But I'll have to run and go get it. I love that jacket.
That's what,
if we're talking about the same jacket, I made a jacket inspired by her green jacket.
Oh, okay.
Andrea came very popular and famous in my eyes. Although we were following each other, that jacket put her on my map. I saw that jacket, I was like, oh my gosh, who is this? And that was incredible. So one day maybe we'll have Andrea back on here so she can show us that famous green jacket.
Yeah, that jacket was awesome. But I always get her because she must like, I think she must like that turquoise color, because that jacket wasn't the one that put her on the scope radar for me, even though I was following her too, like you. It was those hot white shorts she had on with that turquoise little top and them heels and a hat on her blog. I saw that. She was showing those legs, and she turned around and showed that back with the chains on the back of that little top. I said, oh my gosh, I had to start watching this lady. I kid her all the time about that.
Wow. So I have to go back and check that one out. Andrea is showing off those legs. What?
I think she had on some shorts similar to that the other day on her scope. I meant to say something to her about that. Is she still on here?
Yeah.
She said they were the same shorts. Yeah. Showing off those legs.
Andrea's bringing it back to sewing, huh?
Her hubby's favorites.
Her husband's favorite. I no wonder if he's seeing legs.
If you got them, honey, flaunt them.
Exactly. But you know what? We laugh about that. But you know, a lot of times we've had this image. Well, I know growing up, and I hear a lot of people say it now and do it. But we have this image when it comes to sewing that they think it's little old ladies behind the sewing machine with their hair up in a bun and they're knitting and doing this and that. But people don't, and I think that's why sewing is becoming so popular now. Thanks to people like Andrea, Mimi G, and you know others that are sewing. That is not just straight laced and is very creative. I mean, it is sexy. You know, you get to make styles that you want to wear, but you get to do you. You know. So I think when people start realizing that sewing is, you know, very creative. You do what you want to do. You know, everybody's trying to get into it.
Yes.
So
I actually had a friend say that to me when I first, I had been blogging for about 5 years and I hadn't talked to her about it. And then one day I was mentioning something to her because I was answering a comment on my post. And she asked me, she happened to be here and she asked me what it was. And I showed her, I said, sewing. She just looked at me. She said, oh my, that's a dying art, isn't it? And I looked at her. I said, no, it's only dying for those who don't know anything about it because we're alive and well. So I set her down and I let her see on my blog. And then I proceeded to go to pattern review and let her see all the people out there and what they're doing. And she was absolutely amazed. But yeah, they just think, like you said, it's little old ladies, you know, 80-something years old, sitting around with their bifocals on their nose, doing, you know. No,
pattern review is an eye opener. I mean, that did it for me. There you go, Dawn. But pattern review is an eye opener. And for those of you that are not following pattern review, it is a place where a hub of sewists and all kinds of information, all kinds of indie patterns. I didn't even know indie patterns existed until I found sewing pattern review. But indie patterns, all kinds of sewing shops like Emily One Sock. Who knew she was out there? Girl Charlie, you know, especially if you like knits. Who knew they were out there? And so if you want to find anything related to sewing, pattern review is the place to go. And maybe one day we'll have Deepika on here to talk about the show.
She's coming on near the end of September on That Sewing Blab.
Oh, nice.
On here. All right, but I like what Carol says. Carol says, my mom said it's for poor people. We're talking about sewing for poor people until she made her some stuff. So good. Pattern sewing is here to stay, and it's a growing art, not a dying art. It's yet living.
Yeah, and there's so many people. When I was at work, I try to keep it quiet, and I found myself having to keep it quiet because the moment, and it was really hard because I made all of my clothes. And I would have people come up to me, and I remember the last lady that was working there, and before she left, she had enough nerve to walk up to me, and she told me in the break room, she says, you know, I've been really struggling over this because some people don't like it. She says, but would you mind telling me where you shop? And I looked at her and I said, I don't like, and this is true. I do not like shopping. I do not like shopping for clothes.
don't either.
I hate it. I am not one of those ladies who go in the mall. I do not like shopping for clothes. And she gave me this look. It was a look, and I knew what the look was. It was like, she doesn't want to tell me. And I looked at her and I said, I make my clothes. I don't shop for clothes. I don't like shopping. And she was, oh my God, did you make what you have on? And I said, yeah, I did. And I do that because thank goodness she was leaving. That was her last day. But I had another lady, I had made this top, and it was a copper color. I still have that top. And it was a copper color Michael Kors rayon, but it looked like a shiny satin. It's beautiful. I wish I had it here to show you guys. But I put that top on, and I had on a plain pair of black slacks. And when I came in, one of the ladies came over to my area, and she said, God, I love that blouse. She said, where'd you get it? And I sat there like this, and oh my God, here we go. So I told her, I said, I didn't buy it. She said, was it a gift? Did you know where they got it from? I said, no. I said, I made it. What? And then she proceeds to start looking at my clothes.
That's the first thing people do. They want to inspect your garments, right? Did you really? No, you didn't.
And it came, that thing that I hide it for came out of her mouth. Could you make me one? At the end, I'm not, because of the things that have happened in my past, and I don't know if I shared those stories, and I may have, you know how the mind's the first thing to go, but I've had experiences that they're behind me now, and I'm not closed off to doing custom work. But I used to do custom work, and I had one customer, I made all of her clothes for her. She went shopping, bought all the materials, everything I needed, she brought it to me, and I made it for her because she was really petite. But I never had a problem with her. She was everyone's best client. But then I had those bridezilla. I had this bridezilla. And I tell you, she was the one sole person that made me not want to do custom work again. Even she came to me after the wedding and said, I am so sorry and what I put you through.
Oh, wow.
And I just said, this is not worth it. It is totally not worth it, because even when she came to pick up the dress, she still wanted to argue about the price that she was going to pay me. And that's what she was apologizing for, was because she had put me through all of this and then tried to haggle me on the price. So, wow. Yeah, I used to keep it a secret because I don't want to have to tell someone no. And I did learn how to say that word, no.
Well, you do learn quick.
Yeah.
So you do. You learn how you grow up. I was going to say something else, but you grow up and you learn how to say no, and you learn, because this is our business. This is our bread and butter. This is our profession. A lot of people, granted, don't take it as a profession. They see it as a service and servantry, I guess, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. But they don't see it as a higher calling. They don't see it as a, like a CEO or executive position. But this is a trade. It's a profession. It's what you're good at. And just like anybody else, like the psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, they provide a service and they're very good and crafty at what they do. And we're the same way. We are good at what we do. And so we demand to be paid and respected that way. And so you do have to learn how to do business, and that's the bottom line of it. A lot of people think, I can jump in here and I'll just charge what I feel. When you start doing that, people will continue to expect that. But when you set the groundwork and the rules for how your business is going to go, and you run it like a business and not a free will offering, they will treat it the way you treat you, And so I've had to learn that. And so I was in the same position you were. Many times I thought, this is not so worth it. But then I started to feel like they were taking something from me, because this is my passion. This is what I'm passionate about. And I want to continue to do it. I want to continue to provide a service. So in order for me to flip the switch, I had to learn how to do business. Yeah. And so I may have lost some people along the way, but that's okay. Those people don't get me. They're not supportive of me anyway. So I had to learn that. And so now I can do my business and feel good about it and say, hey, it may not be for you, but that's okay. Yes. So I'm glad that you are coming back around to that. I know you're not going to indulge reveal much about it, but I'm glad you're coming back on the scene. And I wish you, I pray, much success in all that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. One thing I've learned, that I had a pastor tell me, that don't let your talent take you somewhere your character can't keep you. And in that, Myra, you have both the character and you have the talent. So I believe that you're successful in whatever you put your hands to.
Thank you. I probably will. I'm not closed off to the custom work anymore because it was so rewarding for me at the time that I was doing it up until that point. So it's not something I'm closed off to right now, but I'm going in a little bit different direction right now, and I want to see where that takes me first. So stay tuned, everybody.
Can we find out?
Yeah, we're going to keep looking. I think Andrea has something for you over here in the corner.
Uh-oh.
Andrea says she don't know you. Oh, so one thing, you know what? The show, we did have I guess it was kind of brief though, Dawn, but we really have not had a full interview with either one of us, I guess.
Well, it's funny that she said that because I was just talking to my husband about that. I was telling him, I said, they interview everybody, but we have questions for them and how they got started. Why can't we do it to them? I can be a host. I was a temporary host for a day.
You're a great host, Myra.
Or co-host, I should say.
I think Faye's interviewed both of us before as well. So everyone should check out Faye's blog because it's awesome too.
Well, you know what? We might think about that. We might flip the switch. We might switch roles one day and have the Dawn says no. But I think that would be a great idea. So who would you like to be the host? I think Myra has already, we just need one more in the seat. Myra has already stepped up to the plate and said, yes, I'll be the host.
Wait, I said I did one.
Don't back out now. No backing out.
I nominate Andrea.
But yeah, since Andrea brought it up, yeah, I say so too. All right. Oh yeah, Carol will be in the background with jokes.
I believe that.
What's with the rifle? She's gonna load us with questions. All right, that ought to be a fun one. So, y'all, we're way past our time, and Dawn has a scope to do tonight. So y'all please watch Dawn tonight. She is going to do her scope on collars. Am I right? You want to tell me a little bit about that before we head out?
Nope, just gonna be at 8:50. Just a little introduction on collars, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I I like chatting with everyone and giving Arthur a hard time. So it's a good way to spend 5-10 minutes.
All right, so follow Dawn on Periscope at Duelling Designs tonight. As soon as we hop on, is that right?
Yeah, 8:50. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, so 8:50 p.m. At Duelling Designs.
You got it. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Myra, we can't thank you enough for coming on. And thank you very much. You're always in the comments and chatting with people. If you miss anything, you bring it to our attention. You're like the co-host if we need you. You're just simply fabulous.
I'm the behind-the-scenes woman. I like it there.
And in front, too. You're great everywhere. So thank you so much, Myra. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies.
All of our company tonight, all of our viewers tonight. Thank you so much. You ladies keep us laughing. And it is good to know that we're not the only ones who do not like shopping. Don't think I didn't see you coming. I'm in good company. All right, ladies. Y'all have a good night and love you to life.
Thank you, ladies. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.